Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's AMA. We have some interesting things to share with you, and we'll have the quiz at the end for all you diligent quiz participants. In about 2 moments, I'll hand you over to Herman. He'll give you a bit of an update on what's been happening with the core development and strategic initiatives at Cherry in the past week. Then I'll give a bit of an update on things that have been happening from the business side. And then, of course, Marvin and Diego are here to talk about their ecosystem projects, Cherish and Seedling. And then we'll push on to the quiz at the end. With regards to the quiz, I have time in my schedule right after the AMA, wherein I'll be paying everybody the quiz prizes from the last couple of weeks. There's a bit of a backlog there, but that should be sorted just after the quiz today, including the people that won today. Okay, so with that in mind, I'll hand you over to Herman now. He's got some interesting news for us, and then we'll push on with the rest of the schedule.
Hello, everyone. Hope you guys can hear me. I'll keep this update brief. There's not much new as of last week. This morning, there were some issues with the mainnet. These were reported by a community member and thankfully resolved within a few minutes. If you saw and you're affected by this, you saw your balances changing, you were able to stake, don't worry, your funds are safe. It was a brief glitch that's been resolved, and now we're investigating how to resolve it permanently. In other news, we'll make an announcement about that and what exactly it entails soon. We will coordinate with the new validators, of whose names will be announced probably today. As you guys have seen, Bora is messing around with a new Telegram bot. It should have messed up. It shouldn't have been sending messages on the Telegram chat, but it has. So you got a little preview of what's in store. Indeed, it'll have updated references to documentation. At the moment, it's a bit outdated, as well as a tipping function. That's always nice to have. Later, will probably be expanded with a means to conduct monetized quizzes, as well as RAIN, which is a nondescript tip. So I can log in and say, well, I want to give 10 cherries to the most active users for the past 24 hours. And I'll do that. That's it. Owen has, and we've been working a lot strategically in positioning Cherry, both as a brand of its own, but also in coordination with other partners and broadening ecosystem. I'll let Owen and the other guys discuss that. It's very exciting. Bye.
Thanks, Herman. I'm going to push on then with my update. As Herman mentioned, we are taking a close look at the strategic positioning of Cherry vis-a-vis the market and also vis-a-vis the ecosystem of this industry. We have been pretty intensively chatting to different other chains and platforms, and indeed other non-Web3 organizations and companies. We are approaching a phase of the progression of the Cherry project, wherein we have layer 0 functionality already launched, as you guys know. We have EVM about to come in the next few weeks. And as well, given the relative stability, while still slightly depressed in terms of price, there's still relative stability in the market and in the industry, which is something to be capitalized on, so that we are well positioned when market upturn comes along. So that's been our focus for the past few days, and will be into the near future. I hope that we will have some interesting partnerships to announce, Web3 partnerships in the coming few couple of weeks and beyond. So that should be good for the community. It should be good for Cherry's performance in the market, etc. And it'll be good, most importantly, for Cherry strategically, which is, as you guys know, our main goal is to keep an eye on the long-term fortunes of the company, with a view to capitalizing on downturns, upturns, lack of interest, effusion of interest. It doesn't matter what it is. We're trying to play the long game to make sure that at every turn, Cherry can still put itself further and further towards the front of the pack. That's our goal at the moment. To this extent, we launched our ecosystem tracker. We have our project diaries up to date. We are increasing, or trying to increase, as much transparency and trust between ourselves, our partners, potential partners, and indeed the community and the developer community, so that you guys can feel more confident, and also not just confidence, but also informed as to what can be done with Cherry and what our next steps will be. So that's quite promising. Aside from that, but on a similar note, we will have, well, it's already soft launched at this point, I think, but there's another ecosystem project which will be given the full blast treatment soon. I was hoping that it would be done by now, but still, it'll be great when it does launch. Most of you guys know about this already, so I won't go into any more detail at the moment. Anyone who doesn't know, just hang on, and there will be an announcement about it. You won't be able to miss it pretty soon. And then there was a couple other things that I wanted to mention. Bear with me there for 1 second. Oh yeah, so we're now going to take the time as well to rejig and retighten the website a bit. Probably a fairly different design. Things have been ticking over quite steadily with the project, as you guys know. We went from TGE to testnet launch, mainnet launch, then layer 0 on testnet, layer 0 on mainnet, and now we have EVM on testnet and then mainnet coming up soon. So this will be another time of, in the next few weeks, that along with partnerships and other ecosystem projects launching, it'll be a fairly developments in Cherry will come thick and fast. The pace will pick back up over the next few weeks, so the next, let's say, 2 months. So that's quite promising, and we're looking forward to that. That pretty much covers most of my update. There were a few questions that I got in the chat and mostly by DM, actually. So I'm going to go over those now. One of them, actually, I should have asked Herman about, which is, I'll actually save this for next week because it's not a pressing question, but it's quite interesting. And it was a question about what are the most challenging kind of areas of development that the technical team are in the process of, working their way through. I can't really speak to that too much because I'm not a dev, obviously. So we might talk a bit about that next week. There was another question, which was about what area of the ecosystem do we think is the most promising avenue for the future. I think that artificial intelligence is quite an interesting and thought-provoking area of of the wider tech industry. It's certainly not something that has been ignored by Cherry. As you guys know, there are artistic AI initiatives. One that Herman has discussed before, which is to do with privacy, leveraging AI and ML to circumvent some of the more invasive tracking technologies that exist at the moment. So that will be that's quite a complex problem that they're solving. So that'll be launched when it's launched, hopefully soon. Very interesting, and I think a very worthy cause as well. Aside from that, another thing that was mentioned was another thing that's launched actually is the original factory initiative, which of course is powered by artificial intelligence and using artificial intelligence in a very structured and, I suppose, directioned way by specific artists to create a collection of computer generated art. That's pretty cool. Most of you guys are aware of that already. And then, of course, there's another couple of things in our ecosystem tracker which discuss the use of machine learning and artificial intelligence, and they're quite promising as well. And I think that that's really something that will probably take off quite a lot in the near future. Cherry's well suited to this because essentially, in a word, Cherry hyperdrives what is possible from a Web3 perspective. I think in a more abstract way, that's quite important as well, because the basis for AI processing is, of course, data, and the data is, for the vast majority of cases, generated by human beings. If this kind of data is squirreled away on servers somewhere and only used by a select few, then I don't think that's really good for anybody involved. I think it's also bad from a business perspective for all of us. So Cherry is something that, both in terms of what it does and also in terms of the ethos of the project, we're in favor of openness. We're in favor of making that kind of thing more democratic. So that's why Cherry will be an important and dynamic player in the Web3 plus AI space. So that would be my answer to that question. I think I've spoken enough. I think we'll move on to Marvin, perhaps. Marvin can give us a bit of an update about Cherish, how things are going on there. And then we'll jump in with Diego, and we'll talk a little bit about Seedling and some of the stuff he's working on. And then we'll move on to the quiz. So Marvin, are you there at the moment?
Yes, I am, Owen. Let me just get everything ready. Yes, Cherish is still preparing for limited launch coming up in a couple of weeks, where creators will have their first glance at what it is like to work on Cherish, and will interact with us in a very intimate, no, not intimate, but in a very close way, to tell us more about how the projects could evolve, either aesthetically or how the feeling could better merge with what their needs are, right? These creators will help us out in many ways, and these are some of the creators that we've already onboarded over the last months. And then the Javito interview part 3, the final part, is released tomorrow. That has been a long time coming. And then finally, our next Cherish update is also supposed to be out this week. Then onboarding continues at pace, and Cherish is rapidly evolving into a more finished product. The tech is really getting polished now. The backend is completely done. It's just front end and interaction between pieces. So we are working on the UI very heavily, and you guys can all look forward to that very, very soon.
That's great, Marvin. Much appreciated. Yeah, that's great. Thanks a million. As Marvin discussed, the launch of Cherish is coming up pretty soon. It's quite an exciting time for that project. So we'll be happy to share all the details with you as we approach that deadline. So that's quite cool. Diego, are you there at the moment?
Hello, guys. Yes, I'm here. And yeah, another Wednesday here with you all. The main news I wanted to comment on today is the maybe advancement with a very special collaboration or partnership with a real usage behind that will support SDLN or seedling token. We are on the final steps of the negotiation, as I said, with a security company, I can say, that will provide us with the perfect infrastructure to protect seedling and make it a very secure platform. I have seen comments about maybe some past unfortunate launches, which really is part of the space and unfortunately keeps happening, especially in bull market when everyone is maybe more driven by hype. It is honestly, from a professional level, very, very difficult to deal with it. But as mentioned a couple of months ago, we enforced some new protocol, way more meticulous and keeping high standards and well-backed projects only. Going back to the actual company we are partnering with, they specialize in this kind of areas. They will perform some very deep and very extensive KYC to the team, even anonymous or more private teams, which, as you all know, is a very common thing in the space and is not bad and should never be a problem, really. There is plenty of very top value projects formed by private teams, and is something in the nature of crypto, which is privacy. They are therefore also specialized in the whole forensic of blockchain and legal pursuit. So this is a very long and boring process, which takes up a lot of resources, and we are happy that they can do this if necessary for us. I'm comfortable talking about this because even though we have not yet closed and signed a formal deal, we are very close to do so. And the team on their side have been really very professional throughout our calls, and seems like another valuable option for seedlings community. So yeah, guys, you'll have some more information about that very soon. The second thing I wanted to say is that we are exploring also different approaches and being flexible chain wise. You all know we are and we will always be the very best and official and native launchpad for the Cherry ecosystem, but we are indeed also very interested in opening our horizon and to supporting projects on other chains as we have done in the past. But maybe on a more personal and close relationship level with the ecosystems, I cannot really explain too much, as this is a very very slow process when you negotiate and contact all these huge chains and have to go through all these processes and calls with many different departments. So yeah, I just wanted to show our maybe open and flexible vision we have for the future in seedling, and that we're working in a variety of different things. And finally, also on the more business development side or partnership side or networking, we have been talking to a very top launchpad, definitely the best launchpad in their chain, that I'm sure everyone in the, or at least in the pre-sales space, knows about it, from a very huge company and well respected with many years of experience on this specialization, and looking at different options we can help each other and share allocation and deal flow basis. And this will also allow us to get very, very special and very potentially very exclusive sales. So yeah, guys, that was all for today. We have, as you see, been working on the networking and more on the business development side of the business. We don't forget about the utility of seedling, and are very happy about all the news and updates we see for the business side of Cherry as well. That was all. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Diego. I think we'll have a couple of, I think we have one or two questions for you. I saw there was a question earlier actually for Marvin. Marvin, hang on there 1 second. I had the question here. Yeah. So someone asked. There are. Oh yeah, they asked. Will there be any jurisdictions? Will Cherish be limited to any specific jurisdiction, or will it be a global service app platform that can be used by anyone?
Okay, sure. So there's two sides to that question, and actually two sides to the answer. The first part is the payment gateway, right? Not all countries and not all payment gateways accept all types of payments for specific content. Because Cherish is going to be a very free platform, all types of content will be allowed within legal limits. But this does not mean that every payment provider will let us have payments surrounding this content. So what we do is we try to navigate the space and find the most open and reliable payment gateways for Cherish that is applicable to us. And then we go with that and we look at all the possibilities. But generally, this will not be a problem at all, as we found a very sufficient fit for what we are trying to do and trying to manage. So yeah. And then on the second part is the constrictions with that would be data, like people, companies that host our data, right? Because you want the data. You want that. Some companies will not allow you to host certain data on their storage. This means that if you're going to an AWS or something, they will limit you to suppose things you can host or not, and that will immediately affect how your platform works. Because we have the Cherry chain as backup, and we use the Cherry chain for all our storage, and it's completely decentralized. We don't need to talk to any of these storage providers, ultimately liberating us from any of the constraints that we might have with other data providers. So if there would be a roadblock, that would be through the payment providers and not the storage. Although we found some very, very good solutions for this, and we are very much committed to it being open and free for everyone, everywhere. So I hope that answers your question.
All right, that's great, Marv. Thank you very much. And there was another question for yourself, Diego. You kind of already answered this, but maybe it might be worth going over it in a bit more detail. Whether or not Seedling are working on any partnerships.
Yeah, again, pretty much on a weekly basis, we are in touch with different very valuable partnerships. Again, not always we can close real partnerships. We know in the space there is a lot of fake and just very stupid partnerships, really. We're looking to actually create synergistic and valuable propositions and win-win situations with these partners. So as I said before, again, we're about to close a partnership with this security company that will provide us specialized infrastructure to protect our community, so you guys and users of Seedling, to make us one of the most secure platforms. And we're also in contact with not only projects but chains, and setting up deal flows with venture capitals and other investment groups to have the best projects. So again, networking and partnership are on the basis of our daily work. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much, Diego. I think that sums it up well. So with that, we're going to move on now to the quiz. John has some questions ready to go. So I will bid you all farewell until we next speak. I think I'll probably talk to most of you guys by DM or in the chat over the next couple of days. But at the very latest, if you tune in next week, next Wednesday, then I'll speak to you then. So thanks very much for tuning in, guys. And as I said, I'll be reaching out to some of you with regards to quiz prizes. But first, we'll just jump into this week's quiz anyway. Cheers, guys, and have a nice weekend.